This is not going to be a micro movie review because there's too much to talk about with Sinners. And we're probably a little bit late to the game in terms of like reviewing it, but who cares? We're late to the game with all our reviews. But yeah, Ryan Coogler's, I'm not going to say magnum opus, but it's going to go down in history as one of the greats.
Yeah, but also, do you really want to call it his magnum opus? I'm sure he doesn't want to call it his magnum opus. No, it's like his first original, like, movie.
Yeah.
That has like no pre-existing anything.
Right, but if you think of it...
But it is really good. It's like it's his fifth movie.
Yeah, his fifth movie.
And it's pretty awesome.
It's his own IP.
Yeah.
And he's going to own it after 25 years.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah. Which he said that he's not going to do for the rest of his movies. And maybe it's more of like a statement about what the movie's about. But still pretty cool. You know? Yeah. To even think like that far of like, no, like this is what the movie represents, and so therefore I would like to one day own it.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything like any other movies I do. Probably not going to do the same thing, but it's meaningful to him.
Exactly.
It's neat.
And this is one of those movies. If you didn't read the press, you didn't watch any of the trailers, you go in and you'll probably think like it's just a gangster movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, because it's like it takes From Dusk Till Dawn and other genre flipping movies. But it doesn't do what those do.
Yeah.
It does its own little thing, and it does it in a way, like I don't even want to spoil the coolest part of this movie, even though the entire internet has spoiled it.
Yeah, and what could be, like I heard someone say, and so this is me taking this from them, that, because there are about 40 minutes of like setup.
Yeah.
It's about 45 minutes before you even meet Jack O'Connell.
Yeah.
And a lot, and it's not like they're talking vampires and that. It's just normal life. It's just setting up these characters, and that you've bought into the movie by the point where that scene happens. That whether you like it or understand it or not, or like it's like what's happening, that it's fine because you're still bought in.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like this happens in the first 5 minutes and you're like, oh, whoa, I'm very lost. You know, like it is, and that's cool that like he had this like runway of time where he's like, hey, you're in, because these characters are awesome and the story is
builds up all the characters. And then the bad guy weaponizes subjugation, which is the coolest part of like his motivations. He's like, look, I went through something similar to you guys, but then he uses it for bad reasons, which is certainly a statement on what's currently happening in the political world.
Yeah.
But it's something that has happened throughout history.
But also that what he's offering them kind of like on the surface doesn't seem like a bad thing.
Right, but if you really break it down, you basically have to give up your culture in order to join his culture.
But then it's like, hey, we could be, this is freedom. The ultimate freedom, And even like in the Delta, like in the 30s, like probably wasn't, free, but like it was not.
Free, sundown towns and everything.
Yeah, so.
One question.
Yeah.
Is this Haley Steinfeld's best role? Because if you think of like True Grit, you think of Kate Bishop, you think of the other roles she's played, they're all great, but this one just feels different.
Maybe just below. I think she does really great work in Spider-Verse, and I think once and she is like the character in the sequel, the second one, and I'm interested to see like it'll be cool to see what happens in the third one. So maybe I'm gonna hold a spot for that, because it to me it's just a great even though it's just a vocal performance, I feel like it feels bigger. So I'm gonna hold a little spot for that, and then if the third one is a disaster, then we can Sinners in, And Opie's also really good.
Yeah.
But
the whole cast is
Edge of 17. There's so many I don't think that Haley Steinfeld like misses.
No.
Because if you haven't seen Edge of 17, she is fantastic in it.
And she has a good agent, clearly. So.
Yes,
And then speaking of good agents, we got Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
And Michael A. Jordan, as everyone's joking about.
That's what everyone's joking. A performance that like legit, like you have to remember like, oh, he's the same guy. Like that it is him playing two characters. There's probably a body double there, much like probably The Social Network or whatever. But he's able to make them feel different enough that you're like, these are two distinct people.
Yeah.
Because I think if we had like a multiplicity situation on our hands, that would be a little, I want to be silly, but also you'd be like, well, yeah, this guy's clearly very different than this guy, but there's like it's like a a Venn diagram.
They feel like brothers.
Yeah.
Like if you've grown up with siblings,
yeah.
they very much argue and fight like brothers.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
yeah.
they love each other.
And I'm glad that like one's not a cartoon, because it would be so easy to be like, well, this is the cartoony one, and this is the real serious one, and that is kind of in there, but it's never too much where you're like, I just don't. I'm just, you know.
Yeah.
I guess like what is that Tom Hardy movie, Legend?
Legend, yeah.
Yeah, you know. Where,
never watched it, so I don't know.
So neither have I.
But anyways, I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah. What's the one thing that would bump it up to like 10 out of 10?
It's a good question, because I remember there's a distinct part in the movie where I was like, you know what it is? And I think they probably left it this way, and I think it's a good choice.
Yeah.
Is I wanted to see the Native American group come back.
That's what I wanted.
And they just didn't. But I did like how they're just like, look, this dude's coming.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of him.
And again, I think maybe I'm glad that the movie takes place over one day. I think it's a really smart decision.
I think it probably they could extend a bit, but thinking of how recent it is to Killers of the Flower Moon, you kind of want to make it your own separate thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, do you think that there's like, I mean, obviously he's going to think about a sequel. I mean, I don't know if he wants to.
I mean, it's set up
Warner
to be
Brothers
really well,
is going to like, if it does well, which it is doing well, I think they would very much be like, yeah, let's do it. I feel like this is a movie that like the sequel would hopefully, one, be better, but two, like would be bigger.
Yes.
Like fun, or
and it would be
box office wise.
And it would be taking place in the 90s.
Yeah.
So.
And so I just need that's what he's good at. He's good at being like, hey, here's a little taste of this thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I kind of want a lot more of that.
Right.
And they're like, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.